if you want different, you have to do different.
Absolutely.
And it might be that you have to revisit that.
Partnership, right? Doesn't mean it doesn't mean solely I share my finances with you, I share my household with you, I share all my material things with you. I'm meant to share my dreams with you, my aspirations, my ideas, right? I'm meant to share that with you. And that means that you have to have, as we've already indicated, you have to give something back to show that you do want to be part of this. As you said, we're not talking about you have to be running beside me and saying, this is the greatest thing on earth, but show some interest. And as I said, Ryan, what you said there is spot on. I don't think that sometimes the little things, they don't realize the outsized effect it has on us. Little things.
Do you know what I think it is though, Unc? You see, men are naturally built to do the things that they might not feel like doing, but they know they have to do, or they know it's for the best. Women more go off what they're feeling, so they might not feel like asking us how our day was. They might not feel like asking us how's your business going. But where a man knows, you know what, I better ask her how her day was, just so we can keep it. And sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you need to do the things you might not naturally feel like doing. It might not come naturally to you to ask, to be interested in what your partner's doing, but at least make it seem like you're interested.
Absolutely.
Because that means so much.
No, I agree. And I feel like there's a list of what men should do to satisfy their women, and all men kind of know that, Valentine's Day is coming up. Even if you don't believe in it, you understand that, you've got to sort something out.
Because it's important to her. It makes her happy.
Because it's important to her. But on the other side, I don't think a lot of women are going to be thinking, it's Valentine's Day is coming up. I need to go and buy my man this watch or this whatever, right? It's accepted. And it's accepted because that's just the kind of system. But I feel like people are now starting to change. A lot of men are starting to get more in touch with their emotions. People are now starting to seek therapy. And, there's a wider kind of initiative of self-love, looking after yourself. And I think a lot of the emotions that men have, we're not trained to show them to women. We're not trained to, be weak in front of our women. So a lot of women don't think we're weak, and they don't think that we have those weak characteristics and those vulnerabilities. So therefore, it's almost as if the way that the world is, women are, he's not going to be doing that, so I don't need to bother that, because we don't show it. Because as men, we're taught to stand up, don't let no one see you crying or, looking down, etc.
It's funny, Lloyd, I thought you made a cracking point, because I feel that when it suits, women want us to be vulnerable, be sensitive, be communicative. And when it doesn't suit, be a man. What does that mean, be a man? I interpret when I say be a man, it means you just put your head down and get on with it. You don't, whether it's hurting you or not, you don't show it, right? So I think, again, in part of the problem is that, you know what they always say, be careful what you ask for. They want us to be vulnerable. They want us to be sensitive because they want that to interact with them, that guys. That's fine. But in doing so, we're opening ourselves up to them, and they need to nurture that, because society has told men, stalwart, stiff upper lip, just crack on, make sure you do the responsible thing, you look after your family, blah, blah, blah. When you got your problems, you just put your head down and you keep on. Modern day has now told us to open up. So we're in a vulnerable position, because if we're opening up and our nearest and dearest are not nurturing that side of us, taking care of it, can mess us up.
Yeah, it's interesting. Vulnerability is a big thing, and there's a TED talk by a lady called I think Brene Brown, and she talks about the power of vulnerability. And she talks about just how much that can impact a relationship where you just literally open that side of you up, and you got to think about how much things get shielded just because you don't want to, how much things could get resolved actually. How much more could your partner understand about you? How much more could your kids understand about you actually, if you just opened up that side that you shield a bit? If I'm honest though, I think the reason why some men don't want to be vulnerable, not only for the reason of, wanting to maintain a certain stance, a certain image. I think there's a danger of it being thrown back at them. I think there's a danger, and I think some men have maybe experienced that, where they've tried to open up. They've really, got the courage to open up, and actually it's now turned into something that gets in an argument or used against them even. And I think that is when the wall ultimately goes up forever. What I've seen in some men actually is that when, trust is broken, or actually they felt overly exposed by something that they've, that's been used against them, they will never allow a woman near that side again. And actually everyone gets hurt from that when I think about it.
You know what? This is what some women don't understand, is that you don't have to say anything crazy. You don't have to rant. It could literally be one thing that you say to us. And women are sometimes they're wicked with their tongue, and that's it. The wall's gone up and it's over. And you wonder years down the line why I don't act the way I acted before about certain things. Why I don't talk to you about certain things, because that one thing that you said back then made me feel this small, and my wall's gone up now. So you're right, Stu. You're right.
And it's and I understand why that happens, and I think, I suppose, a message to the men as well, that, if you want that woman to understand those sides of you, you have to revisit that obstacle again. That hill, you need to climb the hill again, which is basically, okay, I need to be vulnerable to this person again. You could be missing out on a great, life partner, all because of not wanting to do something that you did 5 years ago and you got stung, And I think there's a growth in trying to get to that point. I'm not saying it's easy, people been stung by all kinds of things, it could be money, it could be children, it could be, trust, it could be anything, abuse, whatever it may be. I think that there does come a time though that actually, if you want different, you have to do different.
Absolutely.
And it might be that you have to revisit that. And as I'm saying, I think you said earlier on, there's something that, men end up doing things that probably don't want to do, but they know they have to go and do it. Add that to the list. Add that to the list of the things that you may have to do. Yeah.
If you want to attract a proper woman, you have to be in shape. You have to be ambitious. You have to be earning a certain amount of money. Obviously not all women, but that's what society's told us. Society's told us you have to tick all of these boxes to be classed as a proper man. And men, half of men probably don't want to do it. They don't feel, but they put their heads down and say, you know what, this is what I have to do to have some kind of status in life or whatever. And I know the pressures are not out there for women as such like that, but they don't ask themselves the question, what do I have to do? As I think you mentioned it earlier, what do I have to do? What things do I need to fix within myself to attract the kind, because obviously going back to evolution or whatnot, I think women are more natural. They're put on this earth and they're more naturally want to seek a mate. They want to reproduce and whatnot. Men are more status driven and whatnot. But women don't ask themselves, what person do I have to be in order to attract the man that I want? And there's I don't believe there's a lack of men out there. I really don't. I really don't. You've got girls racking their brains. What is it? Why isn't any man approaching me? But they haven't asked themselves the question yet. What do I need to become in order to attract the man?
And also to keep the man that you have. I think that's
Exactly.
the other bit. That's the other bit that just gets thrown away. This conversation is for both like the single and the married people. Don't think because you have somebody, there's nothing else that needs to get done. And I think we talk this, that gets said all the time, right? Once honeymoon stage is over, everything starts to just, change or stop in some scenarios. But I think you also need to recognize, once you're in that relationship with someone, what is it that I need to do to keep it going, keep it blossoming? What do I need to do to make it exciting still? And that works both. I'm not saying this is pointed at the ladies. This works for both ways.
I think for me, you mentioned a couple minutes ago, you used the word growth, right? And I think what we're talking about here is, again, we're talking about a relationship, your life partner. You can meet somebody at 25, you're not going to be the same person at 45. They're not going to be the same person at 45. That doesn't mean you grow apart, right? It means as one of you changes, you try to then recognize that and move with it And as you change, your partners are the same. So you're constantly going to be growing. You're constantly going to be evolving. All right. Again, if I bring this topic back to society, we seem to think everything is about, boy, if let's just change it. If the car's running good and I like it, you've had it for 5 years, you got to change it. But why? I like it. Right. And while people are quite happy to do that with vehicles and lots of other things, right? You don't think that spills into, well, I've been running this gal for like 25 years. She's married. I've been married to her. Maybe it's time I move. It seeps into our psyche, both male and female, right? Because society has said that, we can just chop and change. We can just chop and change things. But relationships aren't like that.